YouTube. I got some really good, exciting news for all of the Madolche players out there. Um, I personally, I'm not gonna sit here and take credit for this deck because I know I would never came up in anything like this ever in my life. But I will give myself credit that I said I would play a psychic Madolche deck before, but I would never thought to play it with the Psychic Witch and the Esper Girl. I think I was gonna play it with the Krebons and the what's his name, Commander, whatever. But kudos for this deck. The reason why I'm bringing you guys this deck because I know you guys, a lot of Madolche players are struggling. There's so many vast builds of Madolches out there, and there's so many different variants of them, and 3 field spells, 2 tickets, 3 tickets, 2 Mewtwo's. This deck is literally super good. I know first glance you're looking at, oh wow, he plays triple DD Crow. The deck is really weird, but you have to play with the DD Crow because the deck with DD Crow is amazing because it gives you a hook rate target. It disrupts your opponent's graveyard, and it's just really good in this format and meta. When the Evil Swarms come out and Elemental Dragons come out, the card is just really good. But reason why I bring this up because this is an OCG build of the Madolche deck that came in second place. I don't remember what time and date. I think I'm pretty sure it was the 24th of March when this deck came in second place. And again, their meta is spellbooks using Judgment Day, Elemental Dragons, or just them decks by themselves, the mini dragons, which is extremely good, and I guess random waters and some dark rolls and macro rabbits or whatever they have that ever tops ever again, and Evil Swarms or the Verns, what they call it over there. So this deck came second place versus all of that, which is impressive. So the deck has to be super good, and this deck list, whatever, is carefully picked. But let me go ahead and start ranting about it, and I'm gonna get into it. I have no side deck because the deck didn't show a side deck. I would love to see a side deck, but we're gonna go ahead and get into it. The triple DD Crow. Great hand traps. They picked DD Crow over Valor and Maxi because Maxi, you don't really want to draw too much in this deck because you'll draw into cards like this or maybe like double Hoot Cake, and you want to see Hoot Cake at least once. You don't want to see multiples in any of these cards. I mean, this deck has enough search power. I don't really need the draw power. You want Extra Burger for again consistency. You draw into her, she's not completely dead. You hate to draw into her. But I wouldn't run more than 2 because it's just too cloggy to me. And you will draw into her more than you will see this. So I like it at 1. As for the most part, I was playing it. I liked it at 1. 1 Croissant, he's not as useful like he used to because 1, the Chateau and Ticket are at 2. So he's only good with the Ticket. And he's also good for when you're about to OTK. He's like the Ticket special summoner. And he can, make him a 23 beater, which is probably the biggest Madolche you can special summon at that point in time when you're going for the OTK. 3 Hoot Cakes, the best card in the deck. The reason why Madolches, I feel like they're going to be a threat to the meta. You summon this, you banish a Psychic, or you banish a DD Crow, or any other Madolches. Usually, you go into the Evoker play. You can banish a card from the detachments because it goes to the graveyard, and you just go bust balls. Like the card is crazy. 3 Magilines, still staples in the deck. 3 Messenger Lottos, your main searcher of the deck. 3 Mewtwo's, the special summoner of the deck. And the Psychic Witch, which is like a giant rat in a way, but a little bit better because with giant rat, if you get popped by like say bear effect or whatever, it doesn't get the effect. When she gets popped or when she's set, she basically, her effect is guaranteed to go off, and she special summons in weird phases, like the standby phase, where she can't get Veilered. So Expert Girl comes out, and she gives you a pretty much a +1, which Madolches are so good for getting pluses. But without getting the main combo off, without getting pluses, this is a really good engine to get your pluses going and drawings going and stuff. It's just really good. For the spells, you play the 1 Book of Moon, you play the double summon. The Book of Moon is just for extra defense because you don't play a lot of traps. It's also good with your, Magiline. It's also good if your card gets Veilered and stuff. Like, you can Book of Moon it. It stops a lot of the plays like Dino Rabbits or something they use rabbit. You can book them with one of their monsters and they both die. Book of Moons is a really strong card and it gets over a lot of crazy stuff. It's been extremely useful. Double summons, two of them, because it's just the deck has so many pluses and the deck has a lot of hand monsters stuff. They don't special summon themselves as often, so you can double summon into more effects. Like you can Magic double summon Hoot Kick effect, and you can just pop off. Or you can Magic double summon Magic and go into automatic Tiramisu if you needed to. Or you can Magic into Mewtwo and just special summon the Messenger Lotto from your hand. It's like the deck is just crazy. Or I can even summon this, and then if I draw into her, just synchro for Beast and Barkion. Okay, well, anyway. 3 E-Teleports. Basically, you run 3 because you play Psychics. I mean, not much said about this card. Heavy Storm. 2 Chateaus. 2 tickets. Monster Reborn. Triple MST because of the meta. For your traps, you run 3 Finish Chains. You run 1 Palooza. And you run the Judgment. And you run the Warning. So, not too many traps in this deck, which makes this deck, in my opinion, really amazing. Because the deck is fast enough where you don't need back row. It's kind of like Mermails, where they don't really need it. And, like, Hieratics, they don't really need back row like that. And, like, Spellbooks, like, they got to that point where they can just pop off. Because a lot of the Madolche builds I've seen ran a lot of traps. More like a stun build for it. So, yeah, this is the build I like. I love Hoot for making this deck so good. Congrats for that. So, that's pretty much the main deck. I'm not going to go too much. Well, I did go into a lot of detail, but, play the deck for yourself because the deck will blow your mind. I play for the extra deck. I play Naturally Barkion and Beast. Basically, what they do. If I don't go for the OTK or I feel like I stopped or something, you can go into like Tiramisu into Invoker and all this stuff, and you can main phase 2 into Beast, and you won't get Heavy Storm. You can't get Darkhold, MSTs. Like the main problems that hurt this deck a lot. Beast answered all those questions with a proud negate, and it just puts too many threats on the board because you had to get rid of the Hoot Cake or you had to get rid of the Tiramisu. Like it's just too many things that he'll deal with. So Beast is the MVP in the deck. And you can just get it out so easy. Blade Armor Ninja, which I don't really like in this deck because I never dropped it once. Don't really need to, but I guess it's just another rank 4. And because you play 2 Messenger Laws, you can go for it. It's super easy. Cowboy won me a lot of games. Levy the Sea Dragon, so good. Because you can, if you run out of Madolche, Invoker targets, you can actually get back a banished Messenger Lotto, or I actually got back a banished one of her, and she'll still get her effect, which is amazing. And she can be used as a tuner again to go into your second, synchro which you didn't use yet. So really good. 2 Invokers. It's now starting to be mandatory to have play 2 of these because you go into rank 3 plays with him a lot. 2 Tiramisus. 3 Tiramisus. Don't really need 3, but the deck played 3, so I wouldn't really mess with it unless whatever. I never used the third, Tiramisu, which, at one point I almost went for it, but didn't. So that's how fast the deck. The deck actually probably almost need 3 of these. The Maestroke won me 2 games today. Giant Hand, which is, I can't wait till this card comes out because it's such a great main phase 2 card. So your opponent can just go into like Bear and you can just negate it. Or I actually stopped the Judgment Dragon for nuking with this card against Light Swarms, which is so good. Shockmaster is still just mandatory. You can still go into it. Less often now about the Ultimate Offering, but still really good. Acid Golem and Utopia. So that's the deck, guys. I hope you guys look at it, learn from it, make exceptional builds to it, or whatever, because this deck is just amazing. The Psychics helps this deck out a lot because with the E-Teleport plays or the Psychic Witch dies, it puts a lot of targets for Hoot Cakes to go off. So once this dies and you get the Esper Girl and goes off from there, your Hoot Cakes will have infinite targets, like for real. Because your XYZ, the XYZs will be your next Hoot Cake target. Like the deck is just blown. Like Hoot Cakes is never dead. I had never had a dead Hoot Cake once yet. So even with a bad hand, I beat I beat Evil Swarms. Literally starting out with like Solemn Judgment, Heavy Storm, a double summon, I think a Monster Reborn and MST, and I top deck into I think it was a Medicine Gelato, and I still won a duel. So yeah, deck is just ballsy good. All right, guys, hope you guys enjoy, and hopefully I get a lot of feedback from this deck because this deck is really amazing.